Hello, Year 10 artists. Today we're going to be working on your final part of your art analyses. Remember, the unit we're looking at is abstract texture. So we are looking at a piece of artwork called Jerome, Arizona by the photographer Siskind, and you've already created your describe and analyze sections for your analysis and typed it up. So today we're going to do step 3 and step 4. So for interpretation, you're all going to have different sections because you have your own personal interpretation of the piece of work, and that's absolutely fine. So when I do this, don't worry if you have your own opinions about the piece, about what it might be about. That's absolutely fine. It's really important to get your opinion and idea into your analysis. So first of all, if I look at the piece of artwork, Jerome, Arizona, and if I think back to all of my previous analyses, my overall main concept is that I think the artist is trying to make the viewer think differently. So I'm going to write that down here. Making the viewer think differently. I could list all of the reasons why. So we have the kind of zoomed in composition. The angle of the photograph is a little bit unusual. And the color scheme also abstracts the work further. So black and white color scheme. The second thing I want to note is that there's a kind of theme of age and decay because it's peeling paint. So the second kind of main topic we have for the interpretation part. So if you read here as well, it says, what is the artist trying to say? Write what you think the artist is communicating and explain why you think this is. What is the main theme, idea, mood, and feeling? So I have those two main points there. Now, kind of combined, I think the artist is trying to show us the hidden history of the location. And that's because those two concepts combined make me think that maybe there's a little bit more to this story of the peeling paint. Furthermore, because of the name of the piece of artwork, Jerome, Arizona, I think this piece might be showing us the hidden history behind the area of Jerome, Arizona. Maybe the piece is showing us that if we look closer, we might find more of a history or more of a hidden meaning behind a piece of artwork. So showing us that if we look closer, we can find a hidden history. And all of the stylistic devices from last week that we looked at, the contrasted colors, the unusual shapes, makes the viewer look at this differently. So these are the main points I've written down for interpretation. Now I would like you to pause and write down your own interpretation. Remember, the main thing is, what do you think the artist is trying to say with the piece of work, and explaining why you think this. If you're feeling a little bit stuck, read through your analyze section and think about the main mood or feeling, and then you can go and add some more detail. So press pause, and then we'll move to evaluation. Now, starting with the evaluation, this is really important that it's your opinion, but you justify it. So you're not just saying, I like this, I think it's beautiful, wonderful, and unique. You are not doing that. You're saying what you think is interesting about it, why you like it. And something else you could also add is, how can this link to your own artwork? For example, could you take pictures in this style and then develop it into a painting? So sometimes artwork and artists might not directly link to what you're doing, but you can still learn from the skills that they've been using to make the piece. So the first point I'll do is, I really like how the artist makes me use my imagination. I like how the artist makes me use my imagination. And that comes from all the abstraction, which comes from the highly contrasted tones, and the unusual shapes. And I also think it's really interesting how the artist has found this broken, kind of old-looking wall and made us really stop and admire it, and finding something interesting or unusual in something that's been kind of forgotten. So finding beauty in something old or forgotten. So those are my two main things that I like about the work. And now I'm going to show you how I typed that up into a proper paragraph. So here we have my describe and analysis, and here is my interpretation and evaluation. Now, you'll see from this that there's a lot more detail than there is in my notes. So these are kind of rough ideas, and I've typed them up properly over here. So I would pause this to read my example. I'll read it to you actually in case you want to listen to that. There are two main points the artist is trying to say. Overall, I think the artist is trying to get the audience to think differently, as he has abstracted something normal that we would not usually think twice about. Because it is a photograph of paint peeling off, I think this has the mood of decay and aging. This makes me think that there is a hidden history in the area, Jerome, Arizona. Upon further research, I found that this area was once a prosperous mining town and is now dilapidated. The artist is showing us that if we look closer and really try to understand something that may seem complicated, we can uncover a hidden history. Now, what you should notice is that there's a lot more detail in this paragraph than there is in my bullet points. So use this to plan out your ideas and get all those ideas out of your head, and then type up your paragraph. So type up both your interpretation and your evaluation. Now, this week, that's the task I've already explained for you. I also want you to type up and proofread your complete analysis, which will include describe, analysis, interpretation, and evaluation. Having it typed up means I can actually write and correct your work for you and give you proper feedback. Some of you have done some really fantastic bullet pointed or typed or written out paragraphs, but if you type it up, then I can give you some better feedback. So if you have Word, send it to me as a Word document. If not, just type it up into a WeDoc message, then I can give you some feedback there. So do the analyze and evaluate and type it up into a document or a message. So that's your work for this week. Let your teacher know if you have any questions. We are here to help you. Thank you.